Welcome back to the Many Toys of, and we're continuing Dino-cember with the only Titan-class dinosaur I know about. It is time for the Many Toys of Trypticon. Before we begin, a big thank you to the Erasers 4873, Harry Baines, Bonnie AB1206, Master Far 8265, Part-Time Space Marine, and an especially big thank you to Indy 3, PRDG, and Chaos Matrix 713. Indy and Chaos have been going to bat for Trypticon for nearly a full year. Both of them have, and I only hope that this video was worth the wait. On the surface, Trypticon is very easy to talk about. He is the transformed version of Decepticon City. He is the equal number to Metroplex, his archenemy. He is a Titan, and he is able to cause destruction unlike any Decepticon before or after him. At his massive size, he is so destructive, so brutal, so callous. He isn't willing, able, or wanting to stop. When you set him to a target, he will destroy anything in between himself and that place he is going. And once he is there, he will lay waste to it as well. There is no compassion, no sympathy, no hope inside a Trypticon. At least that's what they say. Trypticon's not all that bright. I'll be the first to tell you that. And in the G1 cartoon, he speaks almost like a child does, and that's how they wrote him, as a very easy to manipulate child. His destructive outbursts really seem a whole lot more like temper tantrums, especially when you realize a lot of that anger comes from the fact that Decepticons aren't feeding him enough. He's constantly hungry, and it's because the Decepticons hardly have enough energon to keep themselves going, let alone this massive engine of destruction. Galvatron had him made on a whim, and now that he's online, they really don't have a way to keep him in proper working order. That's also a big reason as to why Metroplex is able to throw him around so easily. Metroplex is well fed, he is well equipped, and he is ancient. He knows what he's doing. Trypticon does not. Trypticon is a Titan, but unlike his contemporaries like Metroplex, he's not a true Titan. He's artificial, made by the Decepticons just to have their own powerful unit. But he doesn't have anything past that. Whereas Metroplex has friends, he has hopes and ambitions. Metroplex has a soul. Trypticon doesn't. He just has his primary orders. He's told when to stand up, when to lay down, when to smash, when to blast, and then when to stop. And he's always hungry. Never listened to, never treated well. I talked about in the Omega Supreme episode how Omega is a child unable to escape this war that they were built for. Trypticon is even more that. And unlike Omega, Trypticon isn't even given an avenue to find happiness.
What you doing? Stop! Let go of me!
Trypticon's original toy came out in 1986, and I think it's one of the single best toys in the entire G1 range. Here's what I'll say, Metroplex as a character is great, but his original toy is so small and blocky, whereas Trypticon, he looks exactly like he does in the cartoon. And just like Omega Supreme, he's able to walk. Granted, you have to be very careful because those systems break down very quickly, but Trypticon can start marching forward. And I even like his alternate modes. When he's Decepticon City, there's a well-defined central tower and a ramp that smaller robots can use to get around. And even though his battle platform mode is a little bit weak, I can see what they were going for, and I can appreciate that there's something there. Plus, when you get Trypticon, you're going to get Full Tilt, who is an incredibly solid little robot, and Brunt. Granted, Brunt doesn't have a robot mode, but he's still a solid enough tank in his own right. And it's all just accoutrement to what is an amazing Mechagodzilla knockoff. And yes, he is supposed to be a little bit inspired by Mechagodzilla, but when you're stealing from Mechagodzilla, one of the greatest mechs of all time, you're stealing from quality. That same year in Takara Tomy markets, you'd be able to get the Transform Jr. Dinosaur, a much smaller, much simpler version of the guy, though he's missing his battle station. If you wanted a different flavor of smaller, simpler Trypticon, you could get the Transformers Gum version of him this year, and even though he only has the one mode, it's a combination of the battle station and the city, plus you get Brunt and Full Tilt. This is an amazing model kit. I just don't know where these colors come from. To bring a great intro year to a close, you'd be able to get the Kabaya Transformers Milk Caramel Trypticon, who could blend in very well with your decoy figures. Unfortunately, Trypticon's time in the sun would be very short. In 1987, there was only one new version of the guy, the Form's Robo Dinosaur, just another decoy-esque version of him. In 1988, the only notable thing about Trypticon would have come from the UK, because in issue 185 of the Transformers Marvel UK comic, they offered 3 Trypticons as giveaway prizes. And the reason that's a big deal is because Trypticon was never released in the United Kingdom, meaning that this was the only way that 3 very lucky fans would be able to get one of the single best figures in the entire range. Despite being a dinosaur, Trypticon did not appear in Beast Wars, only reappearing in 2003 in the My Clone line. That might be the best My Clone I've ever seen. It's a whole lot better than Sideswipe. Come 2006, Trypticon would return to US markets in the Classics line. That said, he was just a redeco of the Legends of Cybertron Scourge figure. Don't get me wrong, the colors look great on Scourge. I kinda wish the Voyager got this. But even still, this was the best Trypticon got after nearly 20 years? Things did look a little bit better in 2009. That's when you'd be able to get the device label Trypticon. And granted, it's just a very simple repaint of Grimlock, but I honestly enjoy this a whole lot more. The colors pop. In 2014, Creo would take a stab at Trypticon, but it was just a Creon microchanger. And weirdly enough, it seems to be based off the Classics one? Sadly, Trypticon doesn't have much. When you're a bot that size, and you're not Metroplex or Fort Max or Scorponok, you're just gonna have to deal with the table scraps. And unfortunately, despite being there before Fort Max and Scorponok, Trypticon never made it to a podium finish. He's not one of the widely remembered Titans. But that doesn't mean he was fully forgotten either. In third party, we would at least be given some good options, each one distinct from each other. The first third-party Trypticon I remember coming across was the Planet X Apocalypse. And this is a standout from Planet X. It's the only toy we have of his War for Cybertron design. And to be fair, I'm not a massive fan of that design, but it is great that it was immortalized in plastic in some way, shape, or form. And it is certainly a very dynamic Trypticon, easily the most articulated Trypticon we've ever had, and its flavor is always going to be distinctly its own. When basically every other Trypticon toy is just the G1 boy, or using the G1 boy's colors, being standout like this can give you a whole lot more brownie points. On the complete other side of the spectrum is the Master-Made Diablo Rex. This is a very cute, almost chibi version of Trypticon, and despite how tiny and adorable he is, it's a very well done toy. Master-Made knocked out transformations and engineering. They gave us one of the most unique experiences that Trypticon's ever had as a figure, and did it while looking absolutely precious. That just leaves us with Dr. Wu and Evil Dragon. And he's good. Like all of Dr. Wu's toys, it's a very solid, very well put together, very thought out figure. The transformation's great, he's Micromaster scale, roughly, and he looks amazing when you put him alongside the other Titans from this line, like Metroplex. Hell, they even did a Gigastorm version of him, though we talked about that in a different video. And that's Third Party Roundup. Admittedly, Trypticon doesn't have much, but at least the things he was able to get in third party are all great and unique. And besides, come 2015, it was time for Hasbro to give a little bit of love back to Trypticon, because he would be included in the Platinum line. This was Trypticon's first ever G1 reissue, and as it turns out, the G1 toy still held up. You put this on a classic shelf, sure, he's not as articulated as a lot of the other boys, but he's still really well presenting. But that would only scratch the itch for so long. We needed a new version of Trypticon. And come 2017, we got the Titans Return version of him. This Trypticon is awesome. I will admit, I do think that he's a bit over-sculpted. There's a certain softness to Trypticon that I've always enjoyed, and this guy is greeble to hell. He's even completely changed out his third mode. It's no longer a battle platform, now it's a little bit more like a spaceship, kind of invoking the War for Cybertron version of him. And Trypticon has so many great gimmicks. My favorite one is that he can eat Titan Masters, and then he can open up his tummy and they can all pop out. That's just adorable, and I can kind of see how in a cartoon, maybe the little guys would blast their way out. Trypticon was such a fun toy, but there was a problem. On at least early versions of him, there were too many strong springs in his hips that include translucent plastic, mind you, meaning that sometimes the ratchet joints would just snap. Blow up within his hips. Granted, they sorted that out. It shouldn't be a problem. But if you're trying to get this guy secondhand, be very, 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 very careful. Because you never know if your Trypticon might be a ticking time bomb. Later that same year, you'd be able to get the Legends Dinosaur. This is Takara Tomi's version of the guy, and he's much better painted. But I'll point out, with both the Legends and the Titans Return Trypticon, they're not quite right. Trypticon is usually black, or at least a very, very, very dark gray. Well, it took nearly 10 years, but eventually we fixed that problem in 2025, when we got the Generation Selects Age of the Primes Trypticon. This is the Titans Return toy again, but finally given the appropriate Trypticon colors. That beautiful cyan, that sharp purple, and of course the black throughout the entire body. It's the same toy, it is, but it does look so much better. And that's it. You've probably gleaned it just from how I talk about Trypticon as a character, but I do really enjoy him, and I love how consistent he's been. Granted, he doesn't have many media appearances, but what he does have paints a very sad picture. He is, much like Omega Supreme, a child of war. A large child, a destructive child, a child with nukes strapped to his back, but still a child. Whereas Omega Supreme had figures like Optimus Prime or Ratchet in his life to try to help him, Trypticon doesn't. All he has are, effectively, abusive caregivers. They don't feed him enough. They don't take care of him. They use his hunger as a way to try to manipulate him. Octane steals him away from the Decepticons just by promising to feed him properly. And of course, when Octane is brought back into the fold, it's not him that gets punished, it's Trypticon. Even in things like IDW, Trypticon is meant to be a weapon of mass destruction. He's supposed to be the archenemy of Metroplex, but when the war ends and he's given the ability to decide what he needs or wants to be, he effectively becomes a preschool. He takes on the role as guardian, protecting the sparklings on Earth. He shields them within his walls. And that's when it all clicked for me as a young fan. Trypticon admires Metroplex. He admires the way that Metroplex protects the Autobots, and he envies how the Autobots treat Metroplex with such care and respect. Trypticon, in some ways, seems like someone who could have been so much better if he had just been on the other side. But he didn't even choose to be a Decepticon. They literally built him from the ground up to be a walking gun. But as a walking gun, he does have a mind. Enough of a mind to realize that this isn't what he wants. What makes me so sad when it comes to Trypticon is knowing that it's not maliciousness. It's not necessarily hatred that drives him forward. It's the fact that if he doesn't keep doing this, there's going to be no one out there to help him. The Autobots already hate him. The Decepticons are the only ones willing to feed him. But maybe, just maybe, in some world out there, he can become a hero in his own right. Maybe he can protect the kids. Maybe he can keep them safe. And maybe, just maybe, they'll treat him like a friend and less of a monster. But guys, I'll ask you, which was your favorite Trypticon, and is there a Trypticon you're trying to track down right now? Dino-Sember will continue strong from here. But if you'd like to support me or the show, I'm on Patreon. $1 will give you access to my Discord server, $5 will allow you to watch videos early and download videos directly from me, and $10 will make you a producer. You'll appear in every video I make from now on, and be able to make direct Patreon requests to me. Thank you all so much for watching, and hey, we'll see what we get up to next time.